We came to this location. We met a lot of resistance from the Lakurawas because this is one of their strongholds. And they usually come here in their 50s, 100s to carry out admin and go back to the bush.
What's just happened here, bandits usually used to come kidnap and go back inside the bush.
The money I lost maybe for the payment of the ransom, up to now that money I'm pinning it.
This is a war Nigeria's military commanders say must be won, and quickly.
Most of them, when you find them, they are coming with hard currencies. How did they get them? How are they funded? How did they get the training?
For more than a decade, Nigeria has been fighting a war it seems that it cannot win. A war that has outsmarted the military, overwhelmed the police, humbled state governments, and broken the hope of millions of Nigerians. This is the war against banditry. Every administration comes with promises. Bandits will be crushed. We will reclaim our forests, and we will end kidnapping. Yet year after year, the headline remains the same. Villages attacked, students kidnapped, farmers murdered, highways shut down, communities paying ransom simply to stay alive. Despite millions spent on security, despite countless military operations, despite airstrikes, joint task force and emergency interventions, Nigeria is still losing this war, and losing badly. Because banditry is no longer just violence. It is a system, a business and a political too. A reflection of a country where the state has grown too weak and criminals have grown too powerful. Before we talk about the solution, before we talk about the hope, before we talk about tomorrow, we must understand one thing clearly. Nigeria is not failing to end banditry because it is impossible. Nigeria is failing because the enemy is smarter, richer and more coordinated, better positioned than the state itself. Today we break it all down. Why Nigeria is losing, why the war seems endless, and why banditry may never end unless the country rebuilds from the ground up. Welcome to why banditry may never end in Nigeria and why the government is losing the war. Banditry didn't begin as a national disaster. It started as cattle rustling, local violence, and small-scale rural crime. But today, it has evolved into a multi-billion-naira kidnapping empire that feeds hundreds of criminal camps across northern Nigeria and some parts of the country as well. In many parts of Zamfara, Katsina, Kaduna, Niger, and Sokoto, banditry is not just a problem. It is an economy. First, kidnapping as the oil money in Nigeria. Kidnappers collect ransom ranging from 10 million to over 300 million naira per operation. One successful mass abduction can fund new weapons, new recruitment, motorcycles, informant networks, collaborations with corrupt officials. When crime becomes this profitable, it becomes almost impossible to eliminate. 2. Young men see banditry as employment. In many villages, bandits are wealthier than farmers who work all year. They ride new motorcycles, carry expensive weapons, and spend cash freely. To unemployed youths living in poverty, banditry becomes a job opportunity. And 3. Communities forced to pay taxes to criminals. Bandits in Nigeria charge villages, harvest tax, security tax, movement tax. Some rural communities pay these fees every month, not because they want to, but because government presence is zero. And number 4, the supply chain of crime. From gun smugglers in the Sahara, to local informants, to political godfathers, to corrupt security personnel, banditry supports thousands of people. A criminal industry this big does not die easily. Nigeria is a massive country, 923 square kilometers, with some of the largest forest belts in West Africa. These forests have become perfect hiding places for bandit gangs. Some forests in Nigeria are larger than states. The Rook Forest spans parts of Katsina, Zamfara, Kaduna and Niger. Kuyambana Forest spreads across the huge territories. Other forests like Kamuku, Gidanjaja, Faskari, and Sububu form a network of natural forests. These are areas where there is no road, no electricity, no mobile network, sometimes no map. It is almost impossible for the Nigerian military to permanently control these areas. The next one is the porous borders, the highway of guns. Nigeria borders have over 1,400 illegal routes, especially along the Niger Republic, Chad, Cameroon, Benin. Through these borders come AK-47s, ammunition, motorcycles, foreign fighters. As long as arms flow freely into the country, banditry cannot be crushed completely. And the third, rural communities are too vulnerable. Some villages are 40 to 100 kilometers away from the nearest police station. By the time security forces receive a distress call, the attack is already over. The bandits have disappeared into the forests. You cannot permanently defeat an enemy that has better knowledge of the terrain and limitless escape routes. Banditry thrives where the government is weak. Unfortunately, many parts of Nigeria have been abandoned for decades. First, let's look at the poverty factory. The northwest and north central regions have some of the heaviest poverty rates, lowest literacy levels, weakest infrastructure, most limited access to health and education. When people are this poor, bandits find it easy to recruit. A young man who earns nothing is easily swayed by 50,000 naira to carry ammunition, 100,000 naira to help with logistics, and 200,000 naira to join a raid. Poverty becomes a pipeline feeding insecurity. And next is the politics of insecurity. Some politicians quietly benefit from this chaos. Criminal gangs are used to scare opponents, suppress voters, influence elections, control territories. No government can completely eliminate insecurity if powerful people are shielding criminals behind the scenes. And the third one, the weakness of local governance. Many local government areas across the north have no functional schools, no modern farming tools, dwindling economic activity, little presence of law enforcement, and where the state is absent, criminals become their government. The fourth one, distrust between citizens and security agencies. When villagers often refuse to give information to police because they fear reprisals from the bandits, they believe security agents lack information, they don't trust the justice system. A war cannot be won when citizens do not trust the soldiers fighting for them. Nigerian security architecture is built on structures created in the 1960s, and these structures cannot manage the 21st century insecurity. And here are the reasons. Number one, over-centralized policing. Nigeria has more than 200 million people, but only one national police force controlled by Abuja. This means no state police, little community policing, slow response, no local intelligence. Banditry is local, but policing is not. Number two is underfunded and undertrained officers. Security forces lack drones, night vision equipment, modern tracking tools, helicopters, surveillance systems, among others. Many officers fight with outdated rifles, while bandits carry newer AK variants. Thirdly, the loyalty problem. Informants everywhere. Bandits pay informants inside communities, security forces, transport networks, markets, rural settlements. They often get information faster than the government. And four, arrest without justice. Even when suspects are caught, trials take years, prisons are overcrowded. Many suspects escape or get released. There is no proper witness protection. The judiciary system cannot keep up with the scale of the crime. After examining the terrain, the economic incentives, the politics, the poverty, and the weak institutions, the conclusion becomes clear. Banditry is not just a crime. It is a system, a business, a political tool, a survival strategy for thousands, and a reflection of Nigerians' deepest failures. Too many wars at once that Nigeria is fighting. Nigeria is fighting Boko Haram, ISWAP, banditry, kidnapping, farmer-header clashes, militancy, separatist violence. One nation, too many fronts. No military on earth can win all these battles simultaneously. 2. Banditry is interconnected with every other crisis. It feeds on illiteracy, unemployment, poor leadership, tribal tensions, population growth, land pressure, weak borders, government corruption. As long as these remain, banditry remains. Number 3. The war that will take generations. Banditry can be reduced. Yes, it can be managed, absolutely, but completely eliminated, not without some things. Massive investments in education, modern policing, strong border control, economic development, political accountability, a justice system that works. These are generational reforms, not quick fix. Banditry is not a storm that will pass on its own. It is not a problem that government press statements can solve. It is a monster Nigeria created through decades of neglect, corruption, bad governance, and weak systems. If Nigeria wants safety, if Nigeria wants development, then the country must rebuild itself from the foundation. Banditry will not disappear through bullets alone. It will disappear when poverty disappears, when skills return to rural villages, when politicians stop using criminals as foot soldiers, when justice is swift, when communities trust the government enough to speak up, when borders become real borders, and when every Nigerian child has hope, not hunger. Until then, this war will continue.